My name is Nancy Mader, and I am the Director of Transition Services for the Federation for Children with Special Needs. And today is Transition Tuesday, and I want everyone to know that every time we turn on Facebook Live, something new happens for us. So that's why you see Federation staff looking blankly into their camera sometimes, because we're not sure if it's on. Like right now, my screen is blank and it usually reflects me back. So hopefully I'm on. Um, Today, I'm going to talk about vocational rehabilitation. So it marks the 100th year of vocational rehabilitation of rehab services. So I wanted to talk a little bit about what rehab is and a little bit about the Massachusetts Rehabilitation Commission. So Mass Rehab is the organization that you go to. Thank you, Pat, for letting me know you see me. I don't see myself. Anyway, Mass Rehab is the state agency that you go to if you are an individual with a disability that is looking to have a competitive job. So they help people get jobs in, whatever field of interest and a job that's realistic for someone. So, you have to have a goal that you can meet. um, you know, like for example, if I had a disability and I, wanted to be a, rocket scientist, but I didn't have a high school diploma, then that wouldn't be a realistic job for me to have. But they could maybe help me find something in a field that, makes me just feel just as satisfied. So you have to have a physical, cognitive, or intellectual or mental health condition which results in a major obstacle to employment. And then you must require VR services to prepare for, secure, maintain, or regain employment. So I think an interesting part of VR, and especially right now, is in a global pandemic, a lot of people went home to work. And if you are an individual with a disability and you went home to work and you couldn't, you didn't have a setup that was ideal for you, that's when sometimes Mass Rehab can step in and help you, with some assistive technology that maybe your employer couldn't help you with, or setting up your home so that it suited you to be a productive worker, so they can help you maintain employment. Also, if you're someone who's working and you can kind of see that something is going awry with the job, something's not quite right, you feel like you might lose the job, you can reconnect with Mass Rehab if they helped you get the job, or if you've had services from them before, or if you're a new client and you want to keep the job, they can step in and help you keep that job. So I think that's like something a lot of people don't know about, and I think it's a really important piece of VR, of vocational rehabilitation, is it can help you keep a job that you have. So if you have people in your life who have disabilities, significant disabilities, they do serve people with the most significant disabilities, who is in a job, who is struggling in that job, or you feel like that job is slipping away from them, approaching Mass Rehab for services, they may be able to help save that job or help negotiate a different job within that organization for someone. So that's a really important thing for people to know about VR. So eligibility for VR services, for Mass Rehab Commission, MRC. So you have to be living in Massachusetts and you have to be eligible to work in the United States. So those are two things that you have to be to receive services. Eligibility information. So it's best to present them with the most information that you have about yourself so that you can get services faster. So the longer they have to dive into your life to see, what your barriers are, what your strengths are, and document your disability, the longer it's going to take you to be deemed eligible. So it is an eligibility-based service. So you can collect information from school, like an IEP, physician, therapist, hospital medical records. There's some self-reporting, and some disabilities are physical and very obvious. So there's, not as much reporting there. But if you have a disability that is not obvious, you're going to have to provide significant documentation to your potential rehabilitation counselor. Social Security Administration, and like a psychological or neuropsychological evaluation. So those are different resources that you can present to help them determine your eligibility. So what is vocational rehabilitation? So it's a program that helps people with disabilities get and keep a job. They help you get and keep a job. So they're not going to help you or your child or your loved one get a summer job. They're helping them get a job that hopefully they stay in for a significant amount of time, but they're not a temporary employment service. They're for, after high school graduation, maybe, or they leave high school and your young person wants to get a job and they're not going to college or don't want to go to college or whatever it is. It's not for temporary employment. It's for longer term employment. So they help people with physical, psychiatric, learning disabilities, developmental disabilities, find work, get ready for work. So getting ready for work is really scary for some people. So my background is a vocational rehabilitation counselor. And I didn't realize until I really started working in the field how much counseling some individuals need around going to work. So maybe their first job experience was really bad and it was traumatic for them and really scarring for them. And the thought of going back to work is scary, or maybe they've never had a job and going to work is scary. There's a lot of counseling around getting a job. There's a lot of services provided to help prepare individuals for going to work. Interviews are hard for everyone. And then you add in, a disability and whether they should disclose or not disclose, or if they have a very obvious disability, how to talk about that. Sometimes that can be the elephant in the room because an employer might not know how to address it. So there's interview prepping, there's resume writing, collecting individuals who can be, I'm losing the words here. Sources for a person for the employer to call. I don't know, I can't think of the word. But there's a lot of counseling and there's a lot of prep. They might need a little bit of training before they go to work. They might need to update their computer skills or, whatever field they're going into, they might need some updated training. So that's something that VR can provide individuals. So there's counseling and guidance, interest in aptitude testing. So someone might go to VR and not have any idea what they want to do. They just need and want a job. So VR can help you figure out what kind of jobs that you're interested in, help you explore those jobs, figure out where your skills might fit into them. So you can do some research with them, and it's guided research. It's someone who knows the job market, knows the field, knows what skills you need to have certain jobs. They can help you with job placement. A lot of that, the job placement piece in Massachusetts, they use vendors. So they might send you to a vendor like the Easter Seals or Work Without Limits or someone like that to help you get a job. So those folks, those job placement folks have connections all over the place. So you can go to them and they can reach out to the employer connections that they have. So it's a way to make getting a job easier for you. They can do diagnostic evaluations. So if you need more information on whether you're eligible, VR can pay for assessments to figure out like a vocational evaluation or psych eval. So some of those evaluations they can do. They can help you and support you in college or training. So their money is limited for paying for college, but they can maybe help you with a tuition reduction, or they can help with books. They can do some things to help you get through college, support you through college, help you connect to different places within the college for supports, disability supports. They can guide an individual through all of those things. They have lots of connections with employers, just VR themselves. So, if you're someone with a disability or your loved one is someone with a disability that's looking for work, going to the Massachusetts Rehabilitation Commission, applying for eligibility, seeing if you're eligible, and then being really connected to your services. So you have to participate. That's the most important thing that an individual with a disability can do to get a job is participate. You have to make sure you keep in contact with your vocational rehabilitation counselor. Do what they ask you to do. You know, if they send you to a vendor for job placement, keeping in contact with that vendor, doing what that vendor tells you to do to get a job. So it's a really an equal relationship. And the best way to get a job is to just participate in those services. So that's just a little bit about VR. I'm going to put in some resources. I'll put it in, I'll link the Massachusetts Rehabilitation Commission webpage and eligibility page so you can check that out. And I really encourage everyone to check out VR services. If you have an individual in your life, especially a transition age individual in your life that wants to work, they should be involved. So VR right now has pre-employment transition services, otherwise known as pre-ET services, for individuals who are 14 through 21. So they stop at their 22nd birthday. They have to be involved in school, and they are work-based services for young people to help them be more successful in work after high school. So the more work a young person gets, the more work experience they get in high school, the better their success outcomes are after high school. So connect with pre-ETs while they're in high school, and then if they still need services outside of high school, connect to the Massachusetts Rehabilitation Commission. So thank you so much for joining me today, and everyone take care, and we'll see you next week.